Namaste one and all. Pranam Swamiji. Yajjāgrato dūramudaiti daivaṃ tadu suptasya tathaivaiti dūraṅgamaṃ jyotiṣāṃ jyotirekaṃ tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu yena karmāṇyapaso manīṣiṇo yajñe kṛṇvanti vidatheṣu dhīrāḥ yadapūrvaṃ yakṣamantaḥ prajānāṃ tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu yatprajñānamuta cheto dhritischa yajjyotirandaraṃ prajasu yasmānna'ṛte kimchana karma kriyate tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu yenetam bhutam bhuvanam bhavishyat parigrahitamamritena sarvam yena yajñastayate saptahota tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu yasmin ricah samayajumshi yasmin pratishtita rathana bhavivaraha yasmischittam sarvamodam prajānāṃ tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu susharadhirashvani vayan manushyan neniyate bhishubhirvajina iva kṛৎpradishtam yajiram javishtham tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu.
Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam. Oh. We are studying Shiva Sankalpa Suktam of Shukla Yajurveda. There are 6 mantras in this Suktam. All these 6 mantras are praying one and the same thing. Let our mind be pure and filled with auspicious thoughts. When our mind is pure, all our deeds, all our actions will become pure. It will make the whole individuality pure. And that purity of mind is the only requisite to reach our goal in our life. It is said in the Upanishad, Sattva Shuddhau Dhruva Smritihi. When our mind is pure, when our intellect is sharp, when our antakarana is pure and clean, then Dhruva Smriti, Smriti, the knowledge of Atman, knowledge about the self, will dawn. And that Atmajnana, it alone will lead us to the final goal. That is liberation from all chains of ignorance, liberation from all limitations, liberation from all sorrows. That is possible only through knowledge. Knowledge of the self, which is unlimited, which is of the nature of bliss. To that knowledge, to that realization, this purity of intellect will lead us. So, it is prayed for here. And there is another important aspect. This sukta comes as a part of Shukla Yajurveda Samhita. And in the Samhita portion, there are many yagas explained, like Shwametha, Agnishtoma, Vajapeya. Like that, so many yajñas are there explained. And to perform all this, both the yajamanas and the ritviks, there are many categories of ritviks. Hotas are there, Adhvaryus are there, Udgadas are there, and Brahman, of course, Brahman will be there. Like that, so many categories of ritviks are there. So all the ritviks and the yajamana must have a pure mind for the fulfillment of those yagas and yajñas. Yajña will be fulfilled only when we are performing it with pure mind. Not the materials, not the mantra chanted, not any other external things are fulfilling yajña. It is the purity of our mind that is fulfilling a yajña. So in this context also, it is prayed for here. Let my mind be pure and be filled with auspicious thoughts. Tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu. So far we have seen 3 mantras, and today we can enter into the 4th mantra. Yajjāgrato dūramudaiti daivaṃ tadu suptasya tathaivaiti dūraṅgamaṃ jyotiṣāṃ jyotirekaṃ tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu yena karmāṇyapaso manīṣiṇo yajñe kṛṇvanti vidatheṣu dhīrāḥ yadapūrvaṃ yakṣamantaḥ prajānāṃ tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu yatprajñānamuta ceto dhritischa yajyotirāṃ prajasu yasmānna'ṛte kiñjana karma kriyate tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu. These were those mantras, and today we are entering into the fourth mantra, that is yenedam bhutam bhuvanam bhavishyad parigrihitam amrutena sarvam yena yajñastāyate saptahota tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu. Yenedam bhutam bhuvanam bhavishyad parigrihitam amrutena sarvam yena yajñastāyate saptahota tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu. Yena idam bhutam bhuvanam bhavishyat parigrihitam amrutena sarvam yena yajñah tāyate saptahotāha tadu me manaḥ śivasaṅkalpam astu. See here in the second line, the shabda is saptahota, not saptahotaha. By mistake, I said it is saptahotaha. No, it is not saptahotaha, it is saptahota. Hota, hotare, hotaraha. That is the form. So here, like all the preceding mantras, we will have to see meaning in two levels. One, to mean the mind, and the second, to mean the Atma. In these two senses, we can take the meaning of this mantra. So first we can take as to mean the mind. Yena means by which. Yena, yena, by which. Idam, this. Idam, this. Bhutam, bhutam is the past. Bhuvanam, the present. Bhavishyat, the future. Or parigrihitam. Parigrihitam means encompassed or held together. parigrahītam. Or it may mean interwoven. Interwoven. Amrutena, by Amruta, by the immortal sense, self. Sarvam, everything. So here in the first line it is said, by which everything is held together. By which everything is held together. Parigrahītam. And what is that by which? It is said Amrutena, by the Amruta, the immortal self. So we can take the whole meaning as everything in this phenomenal plane, past, present, and the future, are held together. And who is holding all this together? It is by Amruta, it is by the immortal self. Everything is held together. And here we have to understand that when we take the meaning as to mean the mind, we have to take the Amruta in the relative sense, not in the absolute sense. Because in the absolute sense, we cannot say the mind is Amruta. Because it is not Amruta. Atma alone is Amruta. Mind cannot be Amruta. But in a relative sense, we can say how, see, all the senses of knowledge, senses of cognition are connected with the mind. And the world we are perceiving, or all the manifestations we are sensing, everything around us, we are knowing through these senses. But the senses are working only in the present. Our eyes cannot see what happened in the past. Our eyes cannot see what is going to happen in the future. So also is the case with the ears and all other senses of knowledge. So senses of knowledge are giving us things connected with the present, knowledge of the present. When compared to that is the senses, mind is knowing what is happening in the present, and it can memorize what happened in the past, and it can visualize what is to happen in the future. So comparatively, we can say mind is immortal. Senses are working and they are giving the perception of the present. All the senses are giving the perception of the present. It cannot give any perception of the past or of the future. Even if senses are cognizing the effects of the past, it is the perception of the present. There is a wound in our body. We are perceiving the pain in that wound. We are remembering the pain when that wound started. It was in the past. We are remembering that. But through the senses, we are not. Through the sense, we are not experiencing that. We can memorize. We are remembering. Now we are perceiving the pain of that wound that is there in the present, not in the past. So even if things connected with the past is there, senses can perceive only the present. And when we compare with the senses, mind can memorize or remember the past. It can experience or perceive the present, and it can visualize the future. So it is immortal. It is amritam in a relative sense. And all the senses, the mind, the intellect, all these adjuncts, they are subtle. They are not the gross part of the body. They are subtle. And with the death of this gross body, the parts of this subtle body are not dying. That is true. So, in comparison with the gross body, senses are immortal. But when we are comparing the senses and the mind is immortal. How? See, all the samskaras of the senses, they are collected, they are stored in the mind. Mind means the antakarana, not the mind, buddhi, chitta, ahankara differentiation is to be taken. So, when migration happens, when migration of jivatma with the subtle body happens, all the samskaras are inscribed in the antakarana. So there, the senses are not palpable. Senses cannot perceive anything. But all the samskaras are there in the antakarana. So, relatively, we can say the mind is immortal. Only relatively. So, yena amrtena, by the immortal mind, bhutam, the past, bhuvanam, the present, and bhavishyat, the future, are parigrihidam, are held together. See, we are seeing a man. Earlier we have seen him. And now at the very sight of him, we are recognizing this is that man, or this is that woman, this is that place, this is that material. How that perception comes, or better to use the word cognition, how that cognition came? Because senses, here the eyes, are seeing the man who is in front of us, that is in the present. They cannot see the past. Eyes cannot see the past. Eyes cannot see the future. Eyes can see only the present, what is happening in the present, what is coming in front of us in the present. But here we are cognizing, this is that man, this is that woman, this is that thing, this is that material. How? And we are getting that knowledge, this is that same man. Both are one and the same. If this knowledge is not happening properly, all our visions will be scattered. And we will not perceive the world. Because we are perceiving this world because the connection is happening. What connection? Connection of past, present and future. Connection of what is here and there. What is here and there, that is happening. That connection we are getting. And we are getting the connection between the past and present and the future. Only because of this connection, we are perceiving this world. Otherwise, we will not recognize a man or woman who is in front of us. We'll be seeing many things scattered. When this connection is not proper, we will be having so many hallucinations. So we are cognizing this world as it is only because of this connection. And it is happening only because the mind is holding all these three together. That is the past, the present, and the future. In the same way, we can say what are here and what are there. See, the universal phenomena is here because time and space, the concept of time and space are there. Time and space are creating this phenomenal plane or phenomenal existence. What we are seeing, what we are perceiving, where we are living, all these are there only because of the time and space. And when we consider time, we can divide it into three: the past, the present, and the future. And space, here and there. Here and there. Amutra, iha. Here, amutra, there. In these 5 shabdas, in these 5 terms, we can compress the whole universal phenomena. That is past, present, and future here and there. In turn, these are time and space. So this time and space, these are held together by the mind. Mind is holding everything together. One thing or one person whom we have seen there, now we are seeing here. We are recognizing this is that man whom we have seen there. So because of this activity of the mind, the cognition process is happening. Otherwise, we won't cognize anything. Senses will be working. Of course, mind also will be working, but this connection is not happening. Then there will be no cognition at all. See, we may be having what we can call a kaleidoscopic vision, not the perception, a real perception. So mind is responsible for that. So it is said, yena bhutam bhuvanam bhavishyad cha parigruhitam. And here it is added sarvam, everything, all the phenomena. All the phenomena which are here on the basis of time and space. Those were in the past, those are in the present, and those will be in the future. All these are held together by the immortal mind. And then it is said, yena yajñah tayate saptahota. Saptahota, 7 hotas. Yena, by which yajñah tayate. Yajñah tayate. Yajña, here as it is said in the Veda, we have to take the meaning as yaga. So here yajña means yaga. What is the difference of yajña and yaga? Both are same. In the final analysis, both are same. Yaga is a yajña and yajña is a yaga. In the final analysis, because the root is one and the same. But normally, we are using the term yaga when it is some yajñas prescribed in the Vedas. So yajñas prescribed in the Veda, especially where Agnihotra is involved, we say it is yaga. There are many types of yagas like Agnihotras, Vajapaya, Jyotiṣāṃ, Agnishtoma. So many. Somayaga, Ashwamedha, Rajasuyas. So many yagas are there. And the term yajña we are using to mean where worship is there or where offering is there, where there is a feeling of surrender is there. So when we are surrendering something to a higher self with the devotion, or when we are offering something to a higher entity, then we will call it yajña. then we will call it yajña. Yagas are those prescribed in the Vedas. So here, as it is a part of Veda, and Saptahota is specifically mentioned, we have to take the meaning as yaga. So yena yagaha tayate. Tayate. It comes from the root tanu. When the suffix yak comes, we will get the form tayate. So we can translate it as is being elaborated or is being performed. Being done. Is being done. Tayate is being elaborated, or is being explained, or is being done, is being performed. All these senses we can take tayate. Because the meaning of the root tanu is vistaram. Vistaram, to make elaborate. So, yena saptahota yajñaha tayate. Here saptahota is in the pradhama vibhakti. We can take it as to mean in the third vibhakti. Saptahotrabhihi tayate, like that. As it is a part of Veda, there is no strict Vyakarana rules. So, Saptahotas are Rutiks. See, there are many categories of Rutiks. Rutiks are those experts in performing rituals, especially rituals prescribed in the Vedas. So those experts who can perform Vaidika yajñas are Rutiks. And there are many categories of Ritiks, like Hotas, Adhvaryu, Udgada. Udgada will be singing Vedas, especially Sama. Hota will be offering Havihi, different types of Havis, into the Agni. And Brahman will be watching everything, what are happening. He must be the knower of all the aspects of yajña. Even though he is not performing anything, he is supervising everything. So he must know all the aspects of yajñas, Brahman. So there are hotas. Number of hotas are different in different types of yajñas. For example, in an ordinary Agnihotra, only one hota will be there. And in the Paurnamasi and Amavasi yajñas, there will be more than one hota. In some karmas, 2 hotas are there. In some 3. Like that in the Agnishtoma, which is also called Jyotiṣāṃ, which is prescribed in the Yajurveda, there are 7 hotas. So around the kuntas, 7 hotas will be offering. So here, as it is said, Sapta Hota, here Agnishtoma is meant. Because in Agnishtoma, there are 7 hotas. In total, there will be 16 rutiks in the Agnishtoma. So that is in Jyotiṣāṃ. That is, to perform Jyotiṣāṃ, 16 rutiks must be there. And 7 will be hotas. So here, as this is a part of Yajurveda, we can take it to mean here Jyotiṣāṃ is meant. So in the Jyotiṣāṃ yajña, 7 hotas are doing that, performing that. By which? By the mind. Because they are offering with their mind, not with the hands. Of course, they are offering with the hands. But mind is responsible for that. Mind is making the hands move. So mind is responsible for the activity of the hands. Udgatas are chanting. So they are chanting with their tongue, with their mouth, with their lips. We can say that. But really, mind is chanting. It is not the mouth, it is not the tongue. It is the mind which is chanting. Brahman is watching everything, all the activities which are happening around him. Eyes are watching, but not the eyes, it is the mind. Advaithashramam, they are chanting the Rik mantras, and they are facilitating other things in the yajñas. So they are facilitating the yajña. They also are doing with their mind. So here hotas are mentioned. Means hotas are offering with their mind. So by that offering, they are performing the yajña, or they are elaborating the yajña. Dāyate. That is the first meaning. There is another meaning. See, in the Veda itself, it is said, Agnirvai hota. There is a mantra. Agnirvai hota. That means Agni is the hota. There are different hotas who are human beings equipped with the knowledge of Veda, who did tapasya, who know to perform. Of course, they are rutiks. And such experts are hotas. But it is said in the Veda, really, Agni is the hota. No human being, no person, nobody who is performing. Agni is the hota. That is, Agni is offering into the Agni. And that Agni is taking the harvest to different devatas. So Agni is the hota. When we take that meaning, there are 7 tongues for the Agni. Kali, Karali, cha Manojavacha, Sulohita cha ya Sudhumravarna, Vispulingini. 7 tongues are there. With the 7 tongues, Agni is eating what is offered there. And a hota must know each and every jihva of the Agni. So Agni is Sapta Jihva. And when we are taking the Shabda Hota as to mean Agni, as Agni is having 7 jihvas, then we can say Sapta Jihva, Sapta Hota, both are same. So that meaning also is there. Direct meaning is the first, that is Sapta Hotas. There are 7 Hotas in a jyotiṣāṃ ceremony, ritual. So by which all these 7 Hotas are performing a yajña. Answer is with the mind. So that mind, let us repeat once more. All these manifestations, the past, the present, and the future are held together by the mortal mind, and the Saptahotas are elaborating yajñas with the mind. That mind which is in us, let it be pure and filled with auspicious thoughts. Tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu. That is the first meaning. So after understanding this direct meaning, we can go to see the second meaning. That is to mean Atma. Then it will mean yena amrtena, by the mortal self. This bhūtam bhuvanam bhavishyad parigrahitam sarvam. Sarvam parigrahitam. Everything in this universe is held together by the mortal self. Right from an atom to the whole universe. From the microcosm to the macrocosm. Everything is held together by the mortal self, the Atman, because it is existence. It is knowledge. It is bliss. So by the Atman, which is immortal, everything, all the manifestations, which we can divide into 3 categories, the past, the present, and the future, are held together. And by this Atman, all the yajñas are being performed, because the very base of all our activities is the self. All the activities we are doing, all the deeds, whether it is Vedic or Laukik, all these are just like waves in the ocean. And the ocean is the very base, and that is the self. That is the self. So that self, that Atma, in which all the past, all the present, and all the future are existing, and that Atma in which all these yajñas are being performed, that Atma make our mind, or make my mind, me manaḥ, my mind, Shivasaṅkalpam, pure and filled with auspicious thoughts. So that is the prayer here. So, just like in other previous mantras, the same prayer is repeated, and that is for making our mind pure and auspicious. When it becomes so, all our deeds, all our thoughts, our very individuality itself will become pure, auspicious. When our individuality itself is becoming pure and auspicious, then everything that comes out of our own individuality will be pure, will be auspicious. And the waves around us, that also will become pure and auspicious. So for that, let us pray together. Me manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu. As we have seen, this is essential to reach the highest goal in our life, and it is essential for proper functioning in this world. For both this, that is in the transactional plane and to reach the highest goal. In both these levels, purity of mind, clarity, that is essential, and for that it is prayed for. So this is the meaning of the fourth mantra. Yenedam bhutam bhuvanam bhavishyad parigrhitam amritena sarvam yena yajñastāyate saptahota tanme manaḥ śivasaṅkalpamastu. So the fifth mantra we can take in our next sitting. Now, whatever questions or doubts you want to ask, you can ask. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste, Swamiji. First question is from Dr. Aruna Prasad ji. Okay. She clones, effects, etc. And is it part of the dharma system, that is the dharma vyavastha?
No, I am not. I didn't hear.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Now it is clear.
Okay. The question is from Dr. Aruna Prasad ji. The question is, why do all the natural disasters like tsunamis, earthquake, and happening? Is it part of the system of dharma, that is the dharma vyavastha? That is her question.
See, the system of dharma is, or the ways of the dharma is inscrutable. It's really inscrutable. It is well said by Bhagavan Vedavyasa, dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhaya. The real principle behind dharma is something which is hidden in the cave. What is that cave? It is the cognition of rishis. It is the realization of the rishis. It is the higher intellect. So we cannot perceive dharma. It is something inscrutable. But when we are observing all the phenomena that are happening or that we can cognize, let us repeat this once more. All those are happening and those we can cognize, because we cannot cognize everything. With the help of microscopes or more powerful electron microscopes, we can see smaller and smaller things. But we cannot see subtle things through microscopes. Smaller things, smaller beings, we can observe through microscopes. But subtle things, they are beyond the perception of microscope. They cannot be seen. In the same way, we can see things which are far away from us through powerful binoculars or telescopes. But up to a certain range, telescopes can see. We are updating, we are upgrading, and the power of telescopes are becoming more and more. More and more powerful telescopes are being built, but the horizon is going far and far. So there is a limitation for our perception. So we cannot say all the phenomena which are happening here, we can know. No, we cannot know. There is a limit. Of course, we will transcend, or we will overcome the limitation of today, or tomorrow we will overcome this. But then there will be limitations of that day. Then with the development of science and technology, we will transcend that limitation. Still, next limitation will be there. There is no doubt in that. When we are getting answer to a riddle, then the next riddle will come. Next problem will be coming. So this is the nature of the world. So we can repeat this once more. Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhaya. It is not that much palpable. But when we observe this, we will see everything is held together. Everything is held together. And that mechanism, that scheme, or we can use a more apt word, that order, is dharma. That is dharma. That is the order or the scheme which is holding everything together. Right from an atom to the whole universe, that which is holding everything together is dharma. When we are identifying with some time or some space, we will perceive or we will conceive according to that time or space. See? when we are sitting here in India or in Bharat, we are identifying ourselves as Bharatiyas, Indians. And anything which is against the interest of Bharat, we cannot accept. We will not accept. Those which are detrimental to the interest of Bharat, we cannot and we will not tolerate. And those who are doing that, we will declare as our enemies. We will have to fight wars. See, if we were living there, in that country, as a citizen of that country, what will be our attitude and perception? Imagine that. Now, here in Kerala, the Panchayat elections are coming. In this month, that is in December, Panchayat elections are coming. So here, the Congress party and Marxist party are fighting. They are rivals here. But in the elections in the Bengal state, they are working together. They are working together. The same party, because they are national parties. And if some national leader is coming for a propagation, you just imagine what he will speak there and what he will speak here. Because in Bengal, they are working together. Here, they are rivals. So, when that identification with this, I am a member of Kerala Congress or I am a member of Kerala Marxist, then he is my rival. We are opponents. And the same person, when he goes to Bengal, they are members of the same alley. See, when we were small kids, when we travel by bus, we will be feeling that much happiness within when our bus overtakes another vehicle. We will be feeling that much happy within, overjoyed. Now, up to a certain distance we traveled and then we changed the vehicle. The other bus, we ascended that. Now we are a traveler in that bus. And now, when the earlier bus overtakes this bus, what will be our feeling? What was our feeling? Just you remember. It was not that happiness. It was sorrow. This is the thing. So when we are identifying with one time or one space, all our perception will be according to that time and space. But when we go above that limitations, we will get the all-encompassing knowledge. But for that we have to transcend these limitations of time and place. If we are ready to observe like that, then we will understand all the phenomena Let me repeat once more. All the phenomena that are happening or that are coming are a part of this drama. Let it be eruption of volcanoes. Let it be tsunamis. Let it be cyclones. Let it be earthquakes. Whatever it is. It can go further. Just with a blast, the whole earth can be changed or can be distracted into small pieces of solid things, or it may burn and take the form of gas. The earth we are living here, just with an explosion, it can change its form into a gaseous state. Just fumes. Just imagine. So all these are part of the system of dharma. But when we are identifying ourselves with one space and one time, see, this human manifestation also is limited by time and space. So when these limitations, we are identifying, sitting on a specific limitation, then we will conceive something as beneficial and something as detrimental. It is not beneficial. It is against our interest. It is giving us sorrows. But when we view from a higher place, all these are parts of the dharmic drama. See? You just imagine. In a village, you are waiting for a bus. There are only few buses. And finally bus came. You are ready to climb. But it is full of passengers. Not even full. But there are passengers not even double the number. You cannot climb. You cannot ascend the bus. Then what you will do? You cannot wait further because there is no bus in the next 2 hours. So you have to, or you must. So somehow you are catching the steel rod and a tip of your leg is there. Just with the toes, you are on the bus and it is moving. Now you are outside the bus, but you are a traveler of that bus and it is moving. It is moving slowly. The conductor who is in the middle of that bus is calling everyone, come forward, come forward, come forward. You have that feeling to obey him, but you cannot. Now somehow the door is closed. Now you are inside the bus. You are standing on the footboard. Even in that footboard, there are 10 or 15 travelers. Even in that footboard, 10 or 15 travelers are there. But now you are safe because the door is closed and the bus is moving. That fellow is repeating the same thing. Come forward, come forward. But you cannot obey. You are not obeying. He should have stopped, but he is not stopping. He is repeating the same mantra. Now, the driver of that bus applied a sudden brake. You are falling down. Not you alone. All the passengers are falling down. And all are cursing that driver. What a driver he is. Is he competent to drive this public transport system? Why he is applying brake in such a rash mode? All sorts of cursing. But within 1 minute, you are realizing he is not a bad driver. He is a best driver. Because when the bus reaches the next stop, within that bus, there is space for 5 or 10 more passengers. How it happened? How it happened? This is a common experience. So we are cursing him. But within a minute, we are realizing. See? When I was a small boy, daily my grandmother used to tell different stories. Through the world of Puranas and Itihasas, she led me. And every now and then she would narrate some other stories. But of course, there will be some message in those stories. Some messages. So one day she narrated one story. There was a village. And one wedding ceremony was there. In those days, girls were boys and girls. Marriage between them will be happening. So a girl was crying. And the man who married her, he caught the hand of that girl. And the marriage party was moving. But all the time this girl was crying. So seeing this girl crying, her younger brother shouted to his mother, "Oh mother, what you are doing? Are you allowing them to take my sister? She is crying. She is crying. Even after seeing her crying, why you are allowing him to take her?" This was the question. Then the mother said, "Oh my boy, day after tomorrow they will come here. And they will bring some ladus and some sweets. You wait for them." Then that boy stopped crying, stopped inquiring, shouting and all. And on the second day, sister, along with that fellow, came and they brought many sweets and some ladus were there. And this boy was happy. And they came smiling. not even smiling, laughing. Days, months and years passed on. Now this boy is 18 years old. That is after 14 years. After 14 years. Now this boy was 18 years. And one day, he exclaimed, "Oh, mother, I understood everything. I understood everything." Then the mother asked, "What, man? What are you speaking of? We didn't discuss anything. Then what you are saying? I understood everything." "No, mother, 14 years back, when that marriage happened, when my sister cried, I'm remembering now, I shouted. And I asked you, why you are sending my sister with him? Because she is crying. Why you are allowing him to catch her and take her when she is crying?" Now he understood. Now he understood. So this is the thing. This is the thing. The things which are happening at present will give us sorrows because we are not knowing, we are not perceiving the whole drama, the whole picture. We are seeing a small part of a canvas. And that part we are assuming as having a beginning and an end. Really, the small piece of picture, even though it is having its own individuality or its own entity, it is a small part of a big canvas. That big canvas we are not seeing. Those who are seeing that big canvas is called a kavi or a rishi, krāntadarshinaha. So for them, all this which we call pleasure or pain, which we call happiness or sorrow, which we call light and darkness, which we call love and hatred, everything are part of that big canvas. Who knows that they are living untouched by the phenomenal plane. They are above this drama. Of course, above the dharma. They are above the dharma. Naiva dharmi na cha dharmi. Na chaiva hi shubha shubhi. Yasyad ekasane linaha. Tushnim kinchit achindayan. So says the Anugita. He is not a dharmi, not an adharmi even. He is not doing auspicious thing. He is not doing the opposite also. He is sitting immersed in one self. So, all these are plays and parts of dharma. That is the reply. Namaste.
Namaste, Swamiji. Next question is from Praveen ji. Please unmute and ask.
Namaste, Swamiji. Can you hear me?
Namaste, namaste, namaste. Yeah.
Yeah, my question is, you said that Brahman or the Atman is a witness or a sakshi to everything. It is the substratum, right? And everything that happens in our life is governed by our own prarabdha. And Atma is just a sakshi to all this. So my question is, where does Ishvara Kripa fit into this scheme. So, yeah.
Yeah. Your question is clear. See, actually, Brahman is not a Sakshi. Because Sakshi is a seer. Sakshi is the overseer who is seeing from above. In the real plane of Brahman, there is nothing to be seen and there is no different seer from the seen. There is no seer-seen differentiation. And as far as the term is concerned, we cannot say Brahman is a seer. No. But when we contemplate what our real nature is, what is the real nature of my Atman? Who am I? Then we have to remove many false identifications with the body and things connected with the body. The mind and things connected with the mind. Senses and things connected with the senses, like that. And to do that, we have to understand the Sakshi Bhava of the Atma. That is, I am mixing with everything. I am making myself a part of the all these activities. I am identifying with the senses, body, pranas, this mind, intellect, and all. But really, my real nature is above all these, and I am just a Sakshi. I am just a Sakshi of all these phenomena. So, to contemplate what the real nature of Atma is, then we are taking the Sakshi Bhava of the Atma. And after realizing that, then we will go still higher plane. We will go to still higher plane, and then we will realize the Sakshi Bhava itself, that also came in a relative sense, because in the highest sense, there is no meaning in the Sakshi Bhava also. Because who is to be seen? Who is seeing? All these are in the empirical plane. So Sakshi Bhava is there when we are analyzing what our real nature is. And now we are in the transactional plane. Even though we are contemplating what, or we are inquiring what our real nature is, that quest is there within. Even then, a sadhaka, a seeker, is in the transactional plane. A seeker always, he is in the transactional plane. As long as he is a seeker, he is in the transactional plane. So he must obey the rules of the transactional world. A realized one who is above the realm of dharma, there is no do's and don'ts for him. He is above all. But a seeker who is in the transactional plane have to obey all the do's and don'ts, because he is in the world. And he is doing. With what he is doing? With instruments he is doing. Senses, that is senses of knowledge, organs of action, the mind, the intellect, and other external instruments which are aiding this, which are helping this. They are upakaranas. Just like I am wearing these specs. This is an upakarana. This upakarana is helping my karana. That is the I. So with all this we are working. And we are working within a system, within a dharmic system. That is in this world, in this universe. In this universe, the system or the order of dharma is there. So I am working as a part of this system. The whole system is controlled by a higher self, which we call Ishvara. I am identifying myself with this microcosm. And the whole universe, the macrocosm is there, and the self is Ishvara. So, as long as I am working here within this system, identifying myself with these limited things, I'm a part of that. I'm a part of that. And there is the perfect controlling system and the Ishvara. And therefore, as long as I am a part of this universe, as long as I am working within the system, there are two aspects. One, the higher self, Ishvara, which is controlling the whole system. That Ishvara's blessing, his care, his love, it must be with me. That is one aspect. The second is, I must make my own mind and intellect pure and clean, sharp. And for that also, I must work. I must work. And that also is the part of this dharma system. So Ishvara Kripa, Guru Kripa, Ishvara Kripa is essential for that. As long as I am within this system, when I transcend the limitations of the system, then it is not at all relevant, it is immaterial. But as long as I am within the system of dharma, I must have the kripa, the love, compassion, care, blessing of that master who is controlling the dharma system. And who is that? Dharmasya prabhuhu achyutaha. It is Ishvara. Ishvara is the Prabhu, is the master, is the controller of the system of dharma. So, think in this way, then we will realize the greatness of Ishvara Kripa in this world. Namaste. Now we can conclude. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankara Bhavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.